I really wanted Edmonton, LA, but this will have to do. Welcome back, everyone, to another playoff series preview. This time, Colorado, Central Team number one, versus the LA Kings, the eighth seed, the Wild Card 2. A Wild Card 2 team that probably shouldn't be in the playoffs, and judging by their record, probably the least amount of wins in the modern era to get into the playoffs. Starting with Colorado, however, 55, 16, 11, 121 points. That's your President's Trophy winner. When they won the Stanley Cup in 2022, they had 119 points. So if you're a Colorado fan, look out for that. They're first, of course, they won the President's Trophy, so they're first in the Central, first in the West, first in the league. The Kings, on the other hand, 35, 27, and 20. The first team to have 20 overtime or shootout losses in a season. That's good enough for 90 points, so a 31-point differential. We've seen worse. Fourth in the Pacific, eighth in the West, 20th in the league. Yes, that's right, 20th. Goals for, Colorado leads the league. 302 for first. Goals against, 203 for first. So that's a plus 99 goal differential. Power play percentage, for whatever reason, sucks. 17.1% for 27th in the NHL. But then the PK, it's back to normal. 84.6%, which is good enough for first. So first, and 27th. Goals for LA, 225, which is 29th. Goals against, 247, which is 12th. So they have a minus 22 goal differential on top of everything. Power play, 17%, 28th. PK, 74.6% for 30th. As you can tell, this team probably shouldn't be here. Looking at guys that had over 50 points on the roster, and Colorado went through a bunch of injuries. So the fact that they still have four guys above the 50-point mark, it's pretty impressive because they would have had more. McKinnon, 80 games played, 53 goals, 74 assists, 127 points. He led the way for a long while until McDavid basically gave him a head start and then lapped him. Necas, 78 games played, 38 goals, 62 assists, 100 points. I am sure they're very happy with that Rantanen deal after what Necas has turned into. He's been phenomenal with the Avs. Cale Makar, 75 games played, 20 goals, 59 assists, 79 points. Looking for his third Norris Trophy, I believe, and I think it's going to go to Werenski this year, but he's probably my runner-up. Nelson, 81 games played. The veteran comes over at the deadline last year, and he showed that he could still play. 33 goals, 32 assists, 65 points. The Kings had one guy get over 50 points. Adrian Kempe, who's got his extension. 81 games played, 36 goals, 37 assists, 73 points. Of course, the big thing for the Kings, this is going to be Kopitar's last season. He didn't reach 50 points. But they're hoping to go out at least with some respect for Kopitar. Looking at the goaltending, Wedgwood's played more. He's been the healthier goaltender. 45 games played, 31 6-6 record, 2.02 goals against average with a 921 save percentage. I feel like he should be the starter for game one, so we'll see if he's ready to go and Blackwood maybe still trying to nurse his wounds. Speaking of Blackwood, 39 games played, 23 10-2 record, a 2.51 goals against average with a 904 save percentage. LA is going to depend on their goaltending because it's probably been the best thing as of late. Kemper has played 50 games, 19, 14, and 15. That's a strange record if I've ever seen one. 2.78 goals against average with an 891 save percentage. Forsberg's been hot lately. 36 games played, 16, 12, and 5 with a 2.57 goals against average and a 910 save percentage. If Kemper struggles out of the gate, you can bet they will be looking to go to Forsberg, who has had a pretty good stretch to end the season. How have they played against each other this season? They've met each other 3 times. Colorado swept them. In LA, Colorado wins 4-1. Then in Colorado wins 5-2. In LA, Colorado then wins 4-2. So they outscore them 13-5 over 3 games. In terms of their playoff history, I just realized I did not put it on the board, so I'm going to write it down real quick right here. They've only met each other twice. This was, one moment here, I'm just going to make sure I get this right. All right. There we go. Playoff history against each other. They've met each other twice before, and it was in back-to-back seasons 25 years ago. 2001 in the semifinal, after the upstart LA Kings beat the Detroit Red Wings in the first round. they came up against the President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche, and Felix Potvin was the star of that run. And they go to 7 against Colorado, who ends up winning the Stanley Cup that year. But LA, very good performance out of them, where no one expected them to go that far and take Colorado to 7. Then 2002 in the quarterfinal, these teams meet again. Colorado, once again, beats them in 7. Just Kings are not able to get over that hump against the juggernaut that is the Colorado Avalanche in that time period. And they're facing a similar battle here. Colorado, odds-on Cup favorites. LA, a very low seed, but we've seen before what an 8th-seeded LA Kings team could do to a President's Trophy winner, cough, cough, 2012. Of course, LA goes on that long run that ends up with one of the most dominant Stanley Cup runs we've ever seen by a team and by a goaltender in Jonathan Quick. Looking at their recent playoff history, these teams have been in the playoffs for quite a while. This is one of the established matchups. Colorado's made the playoffs every year since 2018. LA every year since 2022. Starting with Colorado, they're the 8th seed that year. They go up against Nashville, who won the President's Trophy. They put up a good fight, but they lose in 6 in the quarterfinal, first round. 2019, they lose in the second round in the semifinal to San Jose in 7 games, and controversially, I might add, that was another year where they were the second wild card. They upset Colorado in 5, or they upset Calgary in 5. They really should have won that series against San Jose, I thought, but San Jose was having some plot armor that season, to say the least. 2020, they lose 4 games to 1 in the... That's not right. They lose 4 games to 3 in the second round. There we go. And they lost in 7 to the Dallas Stars in the semifinal. I'm not sure why I wrote conference final. Of course, that was the year where everyone in Colorado's goaltending department got hurt. Everyone on their team was getting hurt. They went down 3-1 to Dallas. They fought back to force a Game 7, but then Yoel Kiviranta scored a hat trick in Game 7, including in overtime. 2021, they won the President's Trophy that year as well. They lost in 6 in the second round, what would have been to the Vegas Golden Knights. Of course, they won the first 2 games there. Then they lost the next 4. And that was when we started saying, okay, so is Colorado ever going to win it? Can they get past the second round? That sort of narrative was starting. 2022, they silenced all of that by winning the Stanley Cup against the Tampa Bay Lightning in 6 games. Of course, they went on a long run there. 2 sweeps in that run. They swept Nashville and they swept Edmonton in the conference final. And then beat St. Louis in the second round in 6, as well as Tampa Bay in 6 to win the Stanley Cup. 2023, they followed that up by losing to the upstart Seattle Kraken in round 1 in 7 games, and that was a huge surprise. Seattle kind of came out of nowhere and thought, okay, maybe Seattle's going to be a playoff team for a while. Haven't made the playoffs since. Now the problem, it's always been Dallas. Dallas has been a struggle for this team. 2024, they lose in the second round, the semifinal, to Dallas in 6. 2025, they lose in 7 in a series that I thought they outplayed Dallas from here to there. They lost in 7 to the Dallas Stars in the first round. So now it's all about getting out of the first round, because they've struggled against Dallas 1, 2, 3 here. They haven't beat Dallas as of late, so if they come across Dallas in the second round, I'd be worried. If they come across Minnesota, I'd also be worried, because they haven't beat Minnesota, I don't think, in the playoffs ever either. So, actually, no, they did in 2008, but 2003 and 2014 stick out in my mind. Looking at LA, if you're a Kings fan, you might want to look away for this part. 2022, they get back into the playoffs after a short little rebuild. They lose in 7 in the quarterfinal to Edmonton. Of course, they were up 3-2. Edmonton wins games 6 and 7. But you thought, okay, this team will be back next year. They finally made it back to the playoffs. No problem here. First round again, they play Edmonton. This time they lost in 6. And now this starts to become a running joke of, okay, they can't get past the Oilers. They just need to not play the Oilers. So what do they do in 2024? They play the Oilers. And now it's a pattern. They lose in 7 in 2022. They lose in 6 in 2023. They lose in 5 in 2024. So then you say in 2025 they're going to get swept. They didn't, but they do play Edmonton again in 2025, 4 straight years. They lose in 6 after having a 2-0 series lead and a lead in Game 3. Then they lost the next 4. Yeah, Edmonton has this team's number, and I think the Kings would be overjoyed to be not playing Edmonton this season if they didn't have to play a juggernaut in the Colorado Avalanche. Prediction for the series. I'm going to be blunt. Colorado in 4. I'm usually hesitant about picking sweeps. Usually I'll say a series goes at least 5 games. But there's been times where I've done that, and it has been a sweep, such as Rangers Capitals. I think in 2024, that was one where I predicted and Capitals would get one, but I was really just giving them the benefit of the doubt. The Rangers won that series in 4. So I'm going to go with my gut here, Colorado in 4. And it could get ugly, but we've also seen a Kings team, as I mentioned in 2012, go on a run when nobody expected it and beat the President's Trophy winner. Anyway, guys, let me know down in the comments below who you think is going to win this series. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.